All right, so I'm going to address one question here. I might put them both questions into one recording, but we'll see. So first of all, the question about zooming in and out, and I talked about it last week, how you can use the wheel mouse, and the question came up if I'm on a Mac or if my mouse is too sensitive and it just jumps, which it has a tendency to do, jump in or jump out. It can be problematic. So here's my solution to that. Number one, if you're okay with the trackpad, sometimes you can pinch. And I've tried pinching before, and here I am pinching on my trackpad, but it just doesn't feel natural to me. I'm not used to that, but that's an option. The trackpad, pinch in, pinch out, just like you do with photos, and it may work. You can try that out. That's number one. Number two, over here on the side of the screen, you're going to see this window. And this is the navigation window. I think it's what it's called. I don't think I can move it away either. And careful, don't close it because I need to, if you do, I have to figure out how to bring it back. But there's this wheel right here. And let me just hover over it again and click on this drop down for a second. And this is the navigation wheel. And I always like to have it on full navigation, but you can reduce it. You can go with the mini as soon as I show you how to do this. So I'm going to leave full navigation wheel on for now. And then I'm going to click on the navigation wheel like this. And when I click on it, you'll see that I have a few options. Now be really, really careful here. If you click on this orbit, it is going to give you some problems. The only thing I would use in this case would be the zoom and the pan. And maybe, let me take back what I said a moment ago. Don't go with the full one. Can I go with a 2D wheel? Let's see if I change it. I hardly use this. There we go. Okay, so here we go. The 2D wheel looks like it'll work because I can zoom and I can pan, and there's a rewind here. So all I have to do is move the wheel right here, more or less to the center of my screen, give it a click, but don't take your mouse off, don't take your finger off the mouse. Click and then drag up or drag down, and that will zoom you in and out. And then release the mouse, and you're back to zoom. And then if you want, you can click and drag pan, and you can pan the drawing. And then, here, let's say I accidentally pan it too far. I can use this rewind. I can hold it down, and then it will rewind, and it'll take me back a couple of steps, as far back as I want to go. So let's say I want to stop here. I release it. So zoom, pan, and rewind. This will be helpful. So try that. And then I'm going to click on the X up here, and that's going to close the wheel. And that's always going to be on the side over here. So yes, make sure you're using the 2D wheel. All right. Now, the third option, I'm going to go old school on you, real old school. Before we had a wheel mouse, and yes, I remember those days when it was just left and right click, there's a zoom feature on here, and it's called Zoom Dynamic. Nobody uses it anymore, but boy, oh boy, we could not live without it years ago. So I'm going to type in Z, enter, and under my options, you can see in the command line, it says, all center dynamic and so on. If I use my down arrow right now, I can see all the options here too. So I want to go with zoom dynamic, and I'm going to click on it. And when I do that, you'll notice how my window just changed, and then I have another floating window here. And this is really cool because what I can do is I can click and then drag. And when I click and drag, I can zoom in a bit like this. And I'm also panning at the same time. So it lets me do that. And then I release the mouse. Sorry. And then I click. And then I right click. And it will zoom me in right there. So zoom dynamic works. Let's see. I'll try again. Z enter, D enter. And then I can try to zoom out. I don't know if it's letting me zoom out any further. That's the problem here. So I'm panning, I right click. Okay. That might work okay. I can also type Z enter, E enter again, just to zoom extents. I can type Z enter. Is there another option? Yes. Let's see. Can I do this? I don't want to do scale. I'm going to try 2x. So zoom out. Let's see if I can, if it takes me twice the distance out. No, twice the distance in. So if I type Z, enter, and I type 0.5 X, enter, that'll zoom me out. Let me try that one more time. Z, enter, and then that was 0.5 X, enter. Yeah, that'll zoom me out. But that's a lot of keyboard. And if you're comfortable using the keyboard, that's the way to do it. So those are different ways to zoom within AutoCAD. And I'm trying to see if there are other options. One more, real quick, within this. If I just click on this one object right here, let's say I window all of this, okay? And all those objects, they're currently selected and the grips are on. If I type Z, enter, and then I type O for object, O, enter, it'll zoom right to that set of objects. Here, let me zoom out again, and I'll do this one more time. I'm going to click on this arc. That's it. And then I type Z, enter, and then O, enter. And it'll zoom me right into the arc. And obviously it's, the other lines, the other objects are also there. And they're part of that zoom. I don't have to pick the object. I can always go Z, enter, and then O, enter, and I'll select the object. And I'll pick this one here, and then enter, and it zooms me right into that object. And this is a polyline. Okay, so those are other zoom options that you have available to you. And then, of course, the double click on the wheel mouse, which doesn't always work for me, but there it is, and that's a zoom extents. Okay. Let me pause and see if there's any questions. All right, so it looks like we're okay. I'll go ahead and stop and then move on to the next question. Thank you.